Another emergency broadcast? Go on then, twist my arm.
Sorry, can we do that again?
Yeah.
Hang on, I've got a weird thing on my face.
Another emergency broadcast? Go on then, I'll take one of those. What's this one about, Chris?
Sebastian Janikowski.
Why did it take so long? It says it right there.
I had a bit of a mind blank.
What's this one about, Chris?
I was like...
Where am I? Sebastian Janikowski, or as we like to say, Mr. Sebastian and Dr. Seabass. That makes no sense.
Wrong way around.
Wrong way around. Seabass and Dr. Sebastian?
No.
Sounds like a Disney film. Put Sebastian Janikowski in a Disney film and do it now.
Little Mermaid spin-off with Sebastian.
With Sebastian Janikowski.
Under the influence. Under the influence.
Give the people what they want. So, Sebastian Janikowski, or as we will discover, Sebastian... Oh my God, which way around is it?
It's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Dr. Seabass.
No.
Dr. Sebastian.
Yep.
And Mr. Seabass.
Yeah, there you
Dr.
go.
Sebastian and Mr. Seabass. Okay. Or as we like to say, Dr. Oh my God, I was going to do it again. Do you want to say it?
Do you want me to say
Yes,
it?
please, say it. What are we talking about this week, Chris?
This week we're talking about Sebastian Janikowski. Dr. Sebastian, as some people know him, and also Mr. Seabass.
That still wasn't great. It's very confusing.
It's much better than... Okay.
Okay. Emergency broadcast number, who knows? I'm Rodney Hampton, criminally underrated New York Giants running back, and I'm joined by my partner, Deion Sanders, in an XFL hat. Today, we are talking about Sebastian Janikowski, or as we like to call it, Mr. Seabass.
No! Yes! Yes! We're so close to nailing that one.
Dr. Janikowski and Mr. Seabass. Finn.
I love the fact that we just about nailed the title. It's 4 minutes in.
4 minutes of title. Fucking hell.
Yes, we are going to be talking about the mercurial life of Mr. Sebastian Janikowski, or...
Mr. Seabass and Dr. Sake.
It's the wrong answer. I feel absolutely dreadful. I don't know how you feel.
He's essentially one big right leg sewn onto the rest of
Left.
a man. Left leg. Why am I here? Why am I here? I'm ruining it. He's like a man with a horse's leg. I'm really value added this episode. I'm feeling I'm bringing a lot.
We're crushing it. So where did he grow up, Hugh?
I can tell you where he grew up. He was born on March 3rd in 1978 in Walsbrick, a small city in southwest Poland, close to the borders of what were Czechoslovakia and East Germany. Thank you, Wikipedia.
Very good. Who was his father and mother?
Well, off the top of my head, his father was a journeyman soccer player.
In 1993, at the age of 15, he earned a place on the Polish under-17 soccer team.
2 years early.
He could kick a ball. Unfortunately, in his younger years, young Sebastian wasn't only found on the football fields, he could also be found in local pool halls, hustling people for money and free drinks. Right.
He would hustle people playing with his left leg. Yeah, I'll play, yeah. Come on, pal.
Yeah. Eventually ended up going on a football scholarship to Seabreeze Community College, or JV College, where he was convinced by his friends that he would earn a lot more money to spend on drugs and alcohol as an NFL place kicker. Seeing how it worked out for him, I think those are the best friends fucking money could buy. Sebastian turns up to the college tryouts for his football team in a t-shirt, sneakers, and basically put no effort in at all. Socked a ball from 60 yards away straight through the uprights.
Popped it.
And the sound, apparently, of the foot hitting the ball made the head coach turn around, and he said, put that guy on the team immediately.
And that coach was 3 miles away.
Seabreeze football team, who up until this point no one came to watch, now had a marquee kicker in Sebastian Janikowski, who was attracting fans from miles around to come and do pre-game warm-ups, who's booting it from 70. Unfortunately, though, Seabreeze was not the future for Sebastian, and that's why we've got all the FSU stuff hanging up. He transferred to FSU, where he, I think it was Bill Sexton, who was in charge, assistant, said we should offer him a scholarship. However, they already had a kicker on scholarship.
I can tell you who it was.
I bet you can.
It was Martin Grammatica's dad, the fuzzy-head phenom, Martin Grammatica, whose name was Tim Grammatica?
Well, it was his brother, but yes.
His brother. His brother was his dad. It was a weird family. They
Yes.
look like toilet brushes and they kick like gods. I'm losing my mind.
This is going crazy now. Bill Gramatica, younger brother of Martin Gramatica, transferred to Southern Florida. Seabass wins the starting job at FSU.
Well, he left. He was just like, I'm good.
Well, no, he didn't. He lost his scholarship to Seabass.
He lost his scholarship? Are you serious?
He had to transfer. He lost the starting job, and they said we're going to give all the money to this Polish guy. Enjoyed a banner freshman year.
Oh yeah.
Converting
Give us some stats, Chris. Stat me up.
16 of 21 field goals and 37 of 39 PATs. Now remember, this is before touchbacks were a common occurrence in kickoffs. All right, so this is when they had the kickoff spot much further back. Loads of collisions, punt returns, helmets, concussions, etc. That's why they changed it. But at this point, Seabass was still nailing touchbacks 90% of his kickoffs.
And he was kicking from his dressing room. That was the rule back then.
He was kicking from Poland. Against Maryland in September, he nailed a 49-yard field goal that landed in the 5th row of the stadium. And against Miami, he hit the right upright on a kickoff 70 yards away, 18 feet up the post.
And sawed it in half. Such is the strength of this man's horse leg. Don't tell me it's all going to be sunshine and roses for young Sebastian Janikowski. What are his grades like, Chris?
Well, no one knows what his grades are like because they weren't ever officially released.
Okay, that's a bum feed.
No, it's actually quite important because it was I think it was one of the only times FSU refused to release a person's grade because you have to obviously pass your exams to be collegiately eligible. And they were just like, yeah, don't worry about it. Seabass,
his alter ego,
hit Tallahassee like a tropical storm.
I saw that you'd written that there and I thought, Chris, he's done some work. Say it one more time.
Seabass hit Tallahassee like a tropical storm.
It's fun, that, isn't it?
For example, in August of 1998, the first of his major off-the-field issues, he got into a fight outside of a bar. He was charged with failure to leave the premises. Hilarious.
Despite the fact he was outside of the bar.
And pleaded no contest in a misdemeanor charge, paying a $295 fine.
How did he get charged with refusing to leave the premises when he's outside the bar?
Yeah, well, the timing of the incident was terrible. A lot of people were picking Florida for the national championships. Unfortunately, FSU decided to discipline Seabass in the worst possible way by making him run extra sprints.
Let's show him.
Meanwhile, Sebastian was pulling his weight. 27 out of 32. 10 of 13 from 40 yards or more and a long of 56.
So what we really want to highlight here is the fact that you've got Sebastian Janikowski, the football player, who is slapping field goals, setting records, one of the best kickers in FSU, nay, NCAA history.
Well, until one man called Roberto Aguayo came along,
Let's
of course.
not speak his name.
Kickers are second rounders too, baby. Kickers are second rounders too, baby.
So at this point,
FSU kicker.
before the birth of Roberto Aguayo, Sebastian Janikowski, the football player, who is setting NCAA records and lighting the league on fire.
Yeah, and in their final game of the season, drills 4 field goals. However, the next night, Seabass,
his alter ego,
gets into trouble at a local bar for beating up a male cheerleader.
Well, there you go. We've all done it. We're all guilty of that. Where do we go from here?
Well, to the championship game.
To the championship game in New Orleans. Bourbon Street is calling Seabass's name.
In the 99 campaign, Sebastian led the nation with 23 field goals in 30 attempts. However, leading up to that championship game, his numbers took a backseat to Seabass's off-the-field issues once again. This was the time when he was busted on Bourbon Street on New Year's Eve and then not benched on the day of the game by the manager because he said he benefited from the international rule of being Polish and allowed to drink, and so forth wouldn't bench him, even though he did bench Roland Seymour for doing exactly the same thing. In January, Seabass was caught at an after party trying to get into a nightclub called The Grove, and apparently tried to bribe a police officer with $300 when his friend got arrested.
So, FSU, you've got this split personality, Sebastian Janikowski, great kicker, once in a generational talent at kickoffs and PATs.
Yes.
You've got Seabass, who comes truck and trailer with this phenom, is a phenom in the pubs, clubs and bars of Tallahassee.
Yeah.
We're at the draft. What happens?
Well, the Oakland Raiders, sitting at 17, are looking for a new kicker. Al Davis of the Silver and Black obviously doesn't have any trouble taking some dudes that might ruffle a few feathers. So what do, Hugh?
They take Sebastian Janikowski at number 17 in the first round. Have we got the names of the other kickers that were in the first round? Go on, off the top of your head.
Well, one was in 1966 and was drafted by the Redskins.
I'll put his name here. Ding. And the next one in 1970.
70 something, had a very hard name. It was like Exeshabe. No, they were quite smart. So they stuck him in between Rich Gannon
Quarterback.
and Bobby Hoying.
No idea.
Shane Lechler was also there.
Leckler.
Leckler.
Shane Leckler, classic. I love that pairing of Janikowski and Leckler.
Yeah, 5th round pick out of Texas A&M. Basically said to him, ship up or ship out, Seabass.
And what did he do?
Ship the fuck up.
He went into off-season training programs designed to boost his strength,
Shed weight.
leg strength, accuracy, all that sort of stuff. And did it pay a dividend?
No, Seabass was arrested in October, passed out outside the Snowdrift Lounge in a seedy part of San Francisco with a gash on his face and high on GHB. But the Raiders stuck by him until in spring 2002 he was arrested for drunk driving with a blood alcohol limit, I think 2 times over the actual amount
But
you're allowed.
Okay, so he turns up to the NFL. He plays fairly well in his first year, misses a couple of games because of cellulitis. Weird fact, but we've got it. The troubles don't stop for Seabass. He goes out in San Francisco, he goes out in Oakland, and then there comes a point where, what is the point where he packs Seabass in?
Was when he got arrested for the drink driving conviction in 2002. So he's had a solid 10-year run of boozing in the States.
In Tallahassee and Oakland, respectively.
Pretty good places to booze. And then he's like, I'm going to go cold turkey, which is a traditional Polish dish. And then, so then in 2002, he decides to go cold turkey, he quits drinking for good, knocks it on the head, and then continues to
become one of the greatest kickers in Oakland Raiders and probably the league history.
Prolific, yeah.
Yeah. And one of my favourite facts, we mentioned Shane Leckler earlier, when the Madden vote was you could vote which players from your team you wanted to be on the front cover. Did you know that the Raiders voted for Janikowski and Leckler because their team was so bad and they both got to the semi-finals? I think it was a year when maybe Peyton Hillis won. Like it was Vic versus Hillis in the final, and Vic had to go up against Sebastian Janikowski, and Hillis had to go up against Shane Leckler.
That would have been amazing.
I was so desperate. I was logging on every day because I was desperate to have a kicker on the front cover of Madden.
Yeah, I was surprised there isn't. I mean, but I like to imagine that you're Mike Vick, and you're like, so let me just get this straight. I missed out on a Madden cover to a kicker, and Bruce Arians holds the record for more rushing touchdowns at Virginia Tech than me.
And I'm sat in prison for dogfighting.
Brilliant.
Let me just get that straight. And that's it. That's the end of Seabass, Dr. Janikowski, and Mr. Seabass.
Got it right at the end.
Got right at the end.
Well
Oh,
done.
look at that. There you go. Reminding you to stay indoors, love your mother and your kickers, and
If at first you don't succeed, try again.
wash your hands. Please. Dr. Seabass, Mr. Janikowski.
Nailed it.